25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. When I first moved here, it was 167 years ago. Can you believe it, Robin? It's been that long already?
I know, it's so long.
And this mall was not here, and I was a young guy living north of Denellen, and I really never came to Ocala for much. I would go to Gainesville all the time. Well, two reasons. There was more going on, and I was young, and they were young. And it was always good. But one of the things was Ocala had so little opportunity as far as jobs, and so that I'll tell you when that was. That was 1972, I think, right?
Yeah.
So I know you think I look very young, but I'm really old. But anyway, so. Now, though, things have changed so much. We have so much opportunity here, so many great jobs and careers, not just jobs. And Laura Burns has been coming in forever from CareerSource Citrus Levy Marion to introduce us to some people who have some job opportunities. Today, Laura is not here. Dale French is here. Dale has been with us before. He's the Director of Program Development for CareerSource. And Dale, you have two lovely guests, and
Yes,
we'll find out what they do. Good morning, Dale.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How have you been?
How long have you had the job you have now? How long have you been with CareerSource?
I've been with CareerSource. I'm going on 15 years.
And did you get your job from In other words, did you go to CareerSource for the job?
I did, actually. I did when I moved here. I moved here from northern Michigan.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, some of the staff that I worked with, actually just one of the first staff that I worked with when I moved here just retired last year. And so, yeah.
See, and I think that when people move here from Michigan or from anywhere, the one thing you think is, will I be able to find work? And
Yes.
And now the answer in Ocala is yes. I mean, there is work here.
There's a lot. Right now, there's a lot of opportunity. And a lot of what we're going to be talking about today is the amount of opportunity that is in the skilled and technical trades. For many years, when I first moved here, for many years there was a ton of competition when looking at doing recruitment for businesses. Everybody wanted a bachelor's degree. Everybody wanted a master's degree. And then in talking to the business, you ask them, why did you want that? And it just was kind of the mindset that that's what you want when you're going to hire somebody. And that isn't always the case. And when you look at the skilled and technical trades in this area, the amount of construction that's going on, you go out to the industrial park and look at the new logistic shipping centers that are available out there. Tons of technology, tons of great careers that don't necessarily require a college degree.
That's a really good point. Yeah. And just a second ago, Robert Colin was here from On Top of the World. In one day last week, they had like 20 homes that they sold.
Yeah.
In one day. So that's 20 new homes, 20 new people, crews of people working on building and plumbing and electricity and everything else, right? So
there's a ton. One of the initiatives that we're working with right now in partnership with the Marion Technical College is developing and really enrolling at this time what we're calling the construction core class. And that is to introduce people to the core competencies of the constructions and technical trades. And so if anybody out there is listening today that wants to get into the construction field, now is a perfect time to do it. We did recently receive a grant through CareerSource Florida where we can actually pay the tuition for that class.
And the point you made earlier about the degree, the bachelor's degree, the master's degree, I remember when we were kids, and this again, it goes way back, we had something called, was it VOTEC, Rob? Vocational Technical?
Yes, VOTEC.
I don't know if that's still what you call it. But those kids, those young adults went on to do really, really well for themselves. It wasn't like, well, you're not going to make much money because you're not going to be a lawyer. Well, yeah, they were making really good money last time I looked at them.
There's a lot, yeah. I mean, you look at it, there's a lot of jobs that, tons of opportunity out there that you don't necessarily have to go on for for a bachelor's degree or a master's degree.
Right.
And that's some of what we're going to talk about today with a Career Youth Expo that we have coming up, that we're really gearing towards individuals that may not be looking to go on to a long-term career in education, as far as acquiring a degree, but maybe looking at the skilled and technical fields. Nowadays, there is some training that is required for a lot of those jobs, but it's typically pretty short-term training, and you can turn around pretty quick and have a really good job. And then as you get into the field, you can continue with your education here and there and keep picking up different pieces and continue on.
So let's talk about that expo. That's
Yes.
When is that going to be?
That is going to be next
Tuesday and Wednesday, February 13th and 14th. And on February 13th, we are having the middle schools go to the Circle Square Culture Center on top of the world,
Okay.
where we have about 400 students.
450, yeah.
Middle school students have been identified to participate at the Expo, and it's going to be held from 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock.
Uh-huh.
And those students will be able to come to an expo, and there'll be 3 sessions going on at the same time. The students will be able to go into a career fair expo where they'll be meeting with business and industry in the various fields of health, manufacturing, public service, IT, things of that nature, where they can engage and meet employers to talk about future careers and what is expected and needed. There's also a session where we're having a workshop where a gentleman, motivational speaker by the name of Coach D, is doing a career mapping and soft skills to share with those students the value of knowing what the soft skills are, what you need, and how do you project yourself, as well as how to plan for career, specifically like Dale was saying early in the career technical educational area. And then the third workshop, and I'll let Sarah talk about that as a roundtable, if you want to go ahead and share, and then we'll talk about the next day.
Sure. And, you know, and I'd just like to say it's a really exciting event, and that this is a true partnership with CareerSource, with our business community, and with the school system. We're really getting a lot of support. I work for Marion County Schools. I'm the career exploration facilitator, and we have tremendous support from our administration to bus these students here, that we feed them. You know, they get to spend a full day here. But yes, so the third session that they get to go into is a lot like speed dating. It's a round table where we'll have 16 tables, and so students come in and they have a seat at the table, and then they get 7 minutes with someone in the industry. So it could be Townley Manufacturing, it could be Country Meats, it could be Columbia Bank, you know, it could be Mojo Grill. Somebody, you know, in those industries is going to come and sit down for 7 minutes and get this is a picture of my life, this is what I do, you know, this is my advice for you, this is the training that you could get. And then after 7 minutes, the timer dings, and the presenter gets up and moves to a different table. And so they get good exposure. They're going to get exposure to IT, to somebody in the health field, to somebody in manufacturing.
That is a really cool idea. Let me properly introduce you. You are Sarah Levy, and thank you for the pronunciation. Career Exploration Facilitator, as you just mentioned, for Marion County Schools. And Brenda Chrisman?
Right.
Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Career Center and Business Services Officer with CareerSource. So you work with Dale and Laura?
Yes.
So I wanted to mention something. You mentioned the soft skills. And I've known people who were not climbing the ladder, and they were very competent. They could have climbed the ladder. And the reason they weren't is because they were shy, or they didn't want to kind of put, you know, they were afraid that somebody else should get it, whatever. And the little bit of soft skill understanding really made a difference for them. So
all the difference.
And I don't even know that was even a term back in those days, but we now have a word for it, soft skills, and
absolutely.
it really does make a difference.
Well, what's interesting also, and again with partnership with Marion County Public Schools, and what's important is that this past year, the school system has embraced the idea of teaching soft skills in the school system. There was a campaign put on where we did a survey of employers saying, what are the soft skills most relevant you need in your workplace in Marion County? After going through several reviews and discussions, they came up with 5 soft skills that will be reinforced at this Expo session next week. The soft skills are dependability and reliability, work ethic, communication, positive attitude, and teamwork. And those are the ones that were identified as the most important in the area. There are others taught, but those 5 soft skills are being taught in every single school, K through 12, since starting the beginning of the year. And at the workshop, that is the goal, even in the roundtable discussion, the expo, as well as the workshop, that we're trying to, you know, reinforce and promote those soft skills, because they are so essential for the students. Even while they're in school, it will help them progress and to learn those that they can communicate all the way through, whether it be vocational or college, and into the workplace.
So true.
Well, and you know that phrase, it takes a village. You know, it is one of those things, what's so great about this expo as well is that, you know, a student can hear it from a teacher, over and over and over again. And they, just like a parent, oh yeah, I'm sure you're right, but if they sit down and they hear it from 15 different, employers, and they're all saying the same thing, then hopefully it will resonate. But then also the truth is you don't get better unless you practice. And so these kids are getting that opportunity. They're going to walk into an expo with all these tables set up, and they have to go up to somebody, a stranger, and shake their hand and look them in the eye and say hi.
And that's the part. Yeah, the first two of the five, the work ethic, I think, was number two, and number one was reliability, or making sure you're always at the you're punching in or whatever you need to do.
Right.
I mean, those two are probably part of going to school too. So you have to show up at school. You have to, But the other three are kind of softer than the first two, and those are not always communicating is not easy for some people.
Absolutely,
especially in today's when the students are wanting to text only, and we're trying to get them to engage in eye contact and verbal communications. It's so important because the employers want that. They have to improve on those skills.
And that can actually let an employer know that you've got what it takes to move up to the next level when they're looking to promote somebody, I think.
Well, and then on the other side, I do think, it's great for the business community because they do get to see some of the best, and they do. I have had employers, come up to me afterwards and say, all we hear about is kids these days, but these kids were impressive. And, so it's kind of fun for us on that side, too.
You mean the people who show up at the Career Expo?
Right.
I would think so. Somebody who's got the incentive to get out of the house and put on some nice clothing and show up at an expo.
I mean the business representatives that are there, with their table, and so they're representing their business, but they get to see their future workforce, and so that's exciting.
Yeah.
Well.
And Adele, how did CareerSource partner with Marion County Public Schools for this event?
We actually started this 3 years ago, wasn't it? It just kind of came.
It's one of those things that, the industry was complaining to the school system that the students graduating did not have certain skills, and that's how the conversation began. And so they asked me, how could we help start improving that? How can we work with the business community and the school system? And the concept about putting an expo on to start getting our business to meet the students and start teaching some of these skills is how it kind of started forming. So as like I said, this is a third year, but the whole purpose of these events is to get our students in front of their future employers and the employers to see these students and start engaging, and not only to help them learn these soft skills, but basically try to convince and recruit their talent. Because right now in Marion County, there are lots of job opportunities. The skill sets are needed, and employers are looking for talent. And so they're trying to get their foot in the door where they can see these students now, make an impression with these students for when they do finish school and when they come out of vocational training or college, that they might return back into the area. So
And
Absolutely, yeah.
And do the students have to register with CareerSource before, when there's been an event, people have had to register through CareerSource?
For the expo, the schools are identifying the students that are being invited to the event, but once the students graduate from high school, and what we are right now do have scheduled in May for any senior high school graduate, we're doing a job fair for them. They'll register with us, and we'll connect them with employers also that are looking to hire. So, students can come to us at any time, but while they're in school, we're not really trying to focus. We want them to finish their education and concentrate on that. When they're starting to look for employment, then they can come to us to look for employment, help them with their resume, things of that nature. So, but the expo is basically here to basically start planting the seeds with these students. Middle school is on Tuesday. On 14th, it's the high school students. Same thing.
Okay.
And one of the things,
And we're getting bigger and better,
and we
aren't we,
are.
Brenda?
And this
Because
is
of the evening.
Last year, it was a really good event, and we decided to kind of branch out a little further. And this year, we're doing an evening event on Tuesday the 13th, and we're opening this up to private schools and homeschool kids, as well as any other public school student that wasn't able to go.
Yeah.
So on the evening, on the 13th, the same location from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock, we are, like I said, we've opened it up to parents to bring their middle or high school students so they can meet with the employers. There'll be educational, our colleges will be there, our vocational schools will be there to talk about training programs, our businesses will be there, our motivational speaker will be there. So we are trying to, again,
Coach D.
Coach D.
I just like the
I
name.
said.
Coach
And,
D.
they will be able, again, to share even with those other students.
I like the idea that we have colleges now in Ocala, so once upon a time, all we had was CFCC, which was okay.
Right.
But you still, after 2 years, you went out. You went to Gainesville. I mean, yeah, at least. I mean, you couldn't any closer than that, right? Now, not only can you get a degree here, but you can stay here with your career. Or move here. I'm sure you have people moving here as well. So is the Expo only for vocational technical or for everybody?
It's for everyone. We are trying to target those industries that CareerSource knows are the fastest growing, so we, and those where there is the highest need. So we're trying to focus on those areas specifically. But what is kind of neat and, a challenge at the same time is that obviously there's a space limit. So we had to cap it at 450 students, which means for the middle school day, 45 students a school. And so, on the one hand, that makes it, kind of exciting in that you have to, be selected and get your permission slip in, first come, first serve.
Yeah.
But if you're not one of those 45, that's what's great about this year is okay, you didn't make the cut for the daytime, come in the evening.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure that everybody knows that all students are invited to that evening event.
And was that true for the employers too? Did you have a cap on the number of employers for this event?
Well, we're still recruiting employers for the event, so if there is any employer that is interested in participating, they can contact CareerSource about the event. We'll let them know the requirements and expectations of it.
Oh my
we
gosh,
are
it's
recruiting for the
great
day.
opportunity.
It is. We have a space limit on that, but we still are recruiting. But it is a great opportunity for, and again, I said it before, this is employers to get their first chance to start recruiting their future workforce, planting those seeds with those students. They may not realize that there is a company that does X in Ocala, and it helps that student and or potential parent find out about that career opportunity to start, reinforce those kids to go into those type of careers. Those training programs as well.
And what's really nice about it, every event that you have, all the employers there, and then when they hire the students, even though they're students, they're still going to get paid. It's not like being an intern where you're volunteering your time. You actually have a net worth to you, a value.
Absolutely. So.
Well, and this is also an opportunity when we work with businesses. We hear often the type of talent they're looking for, the skill sets they're looking for. This is an opportunity for the businesses now to step up to the plate and help form that talent pool. Yeah. They have an opportunity to talk with the young people and say, here's what is available to you. Here's what your next steps should be.
Right.
And for them, too, to start planting the seeds and help start shaping their future workforce. Because we're looking at occupations on all levels, not just the skilled and technical trades, but all the way up through healthcare. And it's good for the kids to see firsthand from those businesses what those career paths look like and what's going to be expected of you as you move up and as you continue to work in that field.
Yeah. Is this information on the CareerSource website?
It is. It is on. And I did want to share also is that, and we've said this is a partnership with Marion County Public Schools. There's no question about that. There are other partners that equally have supported this program because this is the third year. The CEP is part of this. Mid-Florida Manufacturing Associations, the Public Foundation of Marion County. We're all been working together very closely for the past 3 years to do this, and we're getting bigger and better, so we're excited about this. This year is the first year that we actually went for a grant, and the Marion County Public Foundation went for a grant with AT&T, and we received $25,000 to put this event on.
Nice.
I can tell you there are a lot of moving pieces and parts, a lot of costs of these programs. It doesn't happen easily, and so they saw the value of what we did last year and gave us $25,000 actually yesterday so we could put on this event and expand it. So it's a great opportunity for all the partners to get together, working with all the businesses that we're working with and trying to help engage these students.
Very nice. We do have somebody on the phone wanting to ask a question, I suppose. If you'll put your headsets on, and just before I do anything with the phone, make sure everybody can hear me. If you can hear me through your headset. Okay. Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air.
Good morning, Larry. It's Bob calling about the skilled trades grant that's been given to Marion County. I would like to expand on that. I started out as a residential framer, a carpenter, working primarily in the villages, and mustered up the courage to eventually approach the Carpenters Union, which was in Gainesville, Florida. One thing I learned in the process, after working here as a civilian carpenter and then becoming a union carpenter, that I would be entitled to a pension and that my health care would be provided by contract as well as a negotiated wage. And so the foundation grant that's being given to students here, they can always transition into other crafts. They can start out, a person that operates the crane is called an operating engineer. That school would be in Orlando. If you wanted to be a union electrician, that would be the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW, and they are in Gainesville, Florida. We have a training facility for the carpenters in Jacksonville, Florida, but I'm not saying to deny going to school here. I'm saying build off of that. And I would just close with this, Larry, that people that do end up in the trade primarily work in heavy power plant industries, which is what I do, to include Crystal River, Turkey Point, St. Lucie, major power plants, JEA up in Jacksonville. At age 55 years old, you can walk away with a pension in some cases of $3,000 to $4,000 a month. That's money that you get in addition to your Social Security.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's just something I would share with anybody that cares about. So I actually work with one of the guys on my crew, Larry, I think you might especially appreciate. He's an accountant. He actually worked as an accountant, I think, for 9 years. His father was a U.S. Naval officer. I said, Jeff, what are you doing? He goes, I got tired of being in an office. So we have we have pretty bright people, and office work is important. It takes everybody in a good attitude, like they talked about in leadership. So it's not a perfect solution, but we have protected wages and a protected pension, which are things that are offered to to union folks. So I would just share that with the folks in the studio.
Yeah, it sounds like you would be a good speaker at one of their events, Mark.
It'd be wonderful.
I actually I could tell you a couple stories about my involvement with labor and the quite colorful. So anyway, God bless you all.
Good information. Yeah, I mean there's a perfect example of somebody who went through the system that you're offering. Obviously, he did it more a few years ago. So, and I think it's probably more streamlined now than it was in his day. Do you think that's fair to say?
Yeah. Well, developments in the curriculum. We're with the Marion Technical College. They're working with curriculum developed by the National Center for Construction Education and Research, which is just commonly known as the NCCER certification. And that is a nationally recognized credential when that's earned by the individuals. So, whether you're looking to stay in Marion County or you're looking to move somewhere else, if you take that to any other state, they're going to know what you learned, and that they know that the core competencies that you learned are what they need in the industry. And as the caller said, this class it's a core competency class. So this is a good way to open doors on entry-level positions, but there's always additional training, whether it's on-the-job training or classroom training, that they can do later on to start bridging out into some different occupations.
Dale, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
For CareerSource, we get that information in a second. Sarah Lefise, thank you. Nice to meet you, and have fun.
I enjoyed being here. Thank you very much.
We realized the event is happening on Mardi Gras and Valentine's Day. So.
It's an exciting time.
And Brenda Crispin, thank you for what you're doing and for coming in here to talk to us about it. So, Dale, what would they do? Just go to CareerSourceCLM.com?
Yep. Anybody that's interested can go to our website, CareerSourceCLM.com. If you're interested in the tuition assistance, I would actually recommend just going down to our 14th Street office, located across from the Harvey's Plaza on 14th Street, and you can talk with our staff about it, and they will get you going in the right direction to get you signed up for the tuition assistance.
Absolutely good stuff. Call us if you need any of that repeated. Also, remember, we did videotape this, or whatever you call it nowadays. We recorded it. It'll be up as a podcast on YouTube.
It's not done with the reel-to-reel tapes
No.
anymore.
No,
Okay.
not anymore.
I can't get it. But it'll be on the internet, on Facebook. Robin puts it on Facebook and on YouTube, and you please share it. This is coming up this Tuesday and Wednesday, so you got to share it now. If you have somebody who will benefit from this information, that's my whole hope. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Here is your 30-second news brief. The Ocala City Council voted to pay over $500,000 to buy a parking lot from the Marion County Commission so they can build